Hey, I'm Lisa
Hello,
White.
Ian White.
How's it going? So, we've been missing the Citizens Council because, well, there hasn't been much city council.
There's been no city council.
None at
It's
all, actually.
it's gone.
Gone.
Yeah. I don't know. The paychecks are still going in, or out of the taxpayer's pocket into someone else's pocket, but there's no open meetings now because there's no really freedom of assembly or even government assembly. So how does that work? I
How does
mean,
that work?
the mayor of each town, I believe, is still at
So,
work ish.
oh, yeah.
Or telecommuting maybe or something. Is there not like a Zoom for city council? Or understandably, it's probably a bureaucratic thing where the technology has to catch up with the laws in that, right? Like we can't vote electronically, right? You can't vote by mail. Someone's trying to do that.
Well, somewhere they're having sessions because the Massachusetts State Senate and House has just been coming up with a ton of bills lately. So, I mean,
Well, if you do it at the state level, and you can do it at the city level, obviously that's one down,
absolutely.
two, three down, maybe.
Yeah.
So Senate is still in session. School is not in session, but government by and large is still up and running, right? I mean, not like city. Excuse me, city hall is closed to the public
To the
anyway, so
public.
you can't walk in there and do something. But
I'm pretty sure that they would find a way to take your payments, though.
oh no, we get stuff all the time. You can pay online. You can do this. And your
They're actually allowing
trash
people to
fines
pay
and all
to
that kind of
pay
stuff
in person as well, um,
with paper money.
with paper money.
It's not very safe.
Paper money is, I mean, there have been a great many people touch each dollar, but if you think about it, this a similar risk would be handing someone a credit card, handing someone a check, even.
Yeah, no risk. Just go online and pay it like pay EverSource. You pay EverSource online, and then just
Well, you pay EverSource online. Some
somebody
people.
pays EverSource. Currently, I
Who's
mean,
paying EverSource right now?
hopefully people that have got their stimulus checks and everything. I've heard that they went through, so
Stimulus checks. Who's getting stimulus? Who's getting stimulated?
stimulated. That was said on Facebook, I think, today, and so some people are receiving their money
That's
from
fantastic.
federal government, which means that the economy should. I mean, if you're giving money, I hate to say this way, but down to the lowest level, then you should have spending on the way back. Now, between there, obviously we've seen this in the city. There's just restaurants have closed their doors. Some of them gone out of business. Even
I wouldn't say gone out of business. You can't say that yet, but
well, definitely they're hurting.
they're hurting.
Some are still open.
Safe to say every single business here, local business, is probably doing less business than they're used to.
Jesus, fishing. There was just a thing on the Port of New Bedford Facebook, which I think they're saying that I forgot what it was. Certain types of fish, the exotic fish or whatever, aren't selling because the sushi places are closed.
Oh,
Right, so you
wow.
can't. No one's buying the special fish.
And tuna or
Maybe yeah, the tuna it took a
ahi.
hit. Ahi took it. Yeah, all those. So those ones aren't selling, and they had to sell them at a fraction of what they normally get.
Yeah, these are things that don't keep. You can't just keep ahi tuna.
Yeah,
I don't think.
support your fishermen.
Eat some more fish,
Eat
dudes.
fish. Go to Greasy Luck. Buy the fish and chips. It's freaking amazing.
Today, was that today that we had that?
It's
Yesterday.
Wednesday. Every Wednesday
Every Wednesday and every Friday, the Greasy Luck pub.
has amazing fish and chips.
They have amazing fish and chips for only $5. Does it come with a drink too?
It does.
This
But
is like it's unreal. This fish and chips is unreal. Comes with coleslaw, comes with French fries and a drink, and it's $5, which is cheaper
cheap
than any McDonald's
all that.
meal.
Like anybody that goes to McDonald's nowadays, you're paying upwards of $10
Right?
for the
For what?
equivalent
For
of
heartburn?
particle board meat
Or
that's put together by it's like mechanically separated chickens or whatever the hell it is that
eat
they make that
local.
out of.
Eat local.
Yeah, they're not paying us to say that either. It's just really
It's
good
just good
food.
food. And they do beer now. Beer to go.
Growlers.
He's in love with their beer.
Yeah, we're starting a club called the Growler Club.
Who's we?
Me and myself right now. But if anyone watching this wants to join, we're gonna have jackets one day that say Growlers on the back.
He probably would.
Growlers.
He would do that.
Or maybe on the front.
Stop.
Anyways, but you get legit. This is another thing of COVID because you have to. Right now, you can't say anything if you don't say COVID first. Like it's everything in media and news. So, given that COVID, one of the side effects of this whole thing was actually positive. You can. I don't know the actual rule on this, but I've been told that you can now take beer home with you. Now you can buy that
What do you
from the
mean
store.
you don't know if that's true? We did it yesterday.
Yeah, but that's just because they said, and I think the state.
No,
I read somewhere.
Baker
Baker did.
has
Yeah.
Rhode Island beat us to the punch. They actually did alcoholic beverages to go first, but basically it's kind of fudging the licenses. So you're giving a restaurant that has a liquor license, but an unpackaged liquor license, meaning that they can't sell sealed alcohol, a packaged liquor license, which is like a package store. It's going to be interesting. So now that we know that strings can be pulled so easily, it might make you scratch your head a little bit when things go back to normal and the denials start happening again.
Yeah, and the Growler Club will cease to exist at that point. I think I don't know if you can still get them. Like, you have to have the beer. Usually, you had to go and drink the beer at the facility,
They have to
at
take
the
the lid.
establishment, and stay there. Now, because of COVID, you can actually get the beer and go home.
How about alcohol being an essential?
Non-essential or
No, it is. So the reason why it is an essential because like the reason why why you see liquor stores still open, even though everywhere else is shut down, basically except for groceries and Home Depot and Walmart, is because they're considering alcohol and liquor stores to be essential.
Well, I mean, as much as I would agree that beer is essential to most things, especially fish and chips.
Beer batter, it is actually essential to beer batter.
You cannot have fish and chips without a beer.
So, many people probably have noticed that our rights are slowly dwindling here in the United States. Freedom of assembly, even the right to bear arms has been, it's been difficult to find and purchase and get licensure for said guns. So
those are two major things that are constitutionally given to all Americans that are on hold, and it's always said during limited time only, temporary measure.
Just for now.
When does the temporary measure end? Is that the end of this year, the end of this month, tomorrow, 2 years from now? I mean, once something's put into place, and then it's there. That's the new law of the land. Norm. So there's not really much talk about when any of that will end. It's just we're going to implement this, which is concerning because if you can change the law that easily with no votes from anybody, by the way, it's just we're the Senate, we're the whoever, we're going to do this, and then boom, now everyone else has to follow that. That's concerning.
It's very concerning, and it's important to know that that's only happening because of the state of emergency. If we were not in a state of emergency right now, they wouldn't be able to pass anything like this, any sort of emergency laws. But are they taking advantage? Are lawmakers taking advantage of this? I believe so. I believe that it's at the very least possible that they could be taking advantage of the state of emergency, and
at bare minimum, I mean, they're setting precedent with this, and we'll say it a couple of times probably during the thing.
Precedent. When is the last time this has ever happened? Never has.
Never, no.
So it is unlikely to ever happen again like that. So precedents, I'm not sure. Yeah, if we're ever again in a complete nationwide lockdown over which, actually, I've heard that to expect rolling lockdowns for the next year.
Yeah.
Anyway, the federal government has passed the CARES Act to try to assist the public right now during the economic crisis. The CARES Act does several things. It basically puts a hold on evictions and foreclosures for certain properties. I believe that the mortgage service provider must be a federally backed provider, which actually eliminates any sort of protection for many investors. So
commercial loans, fishermen, landlords, small business. I mean, there's the SBA, but that thing's maxed out. It's gone.
The SBA was nothing more. The SBA PPP, the payment protection,
That
that
thing's
everyone's
gone.
been hearing about is gone.
Sold out in like the first day or something.
In my opinion, it was nothing more than a bank bailout in disguise. If if the federal government wanted to help protect people's paychecks, they didn't need to involve banks. They could have just done it right through the IRS, directly to the business owner, and saved a ton of time. And why involve the banks, really? Unless you're looking to put money into the bank's pocket, which I believe is what happened. You had banks only loaning to people who already were existing customers, and requesting money from the feds in the amount necessary to secure um, large commercial loans. So I consider the PPP program to have been a bailout in disguise.
All right, so banks are getting essentially bailed out. Now, while the rest of it, I believe, actually is well intentioned, especially at the Fed level. Like, they're folks are giving to directly to Americans, and that's a good thing
You believe
on
that
the surface of it, because it should be trickle down economics and then trickle back up. Those folks should hopefully continue to spend that money in the economy, which would vicariously give small business, larger business, communities that needed income, sources of revenue, taxes even.
Are you arguing in favor of trickle down economics right now?
I don't actually know the whole thing about it. I'm just saying that it's going directly to the source, where you're giving someone 1,000, 2,000, whatever it is a month, 1,200, I think, and the 600 a week or whatever that is, and then those individuals then, this is disposable income or ish, but I mean essentially would probably food, water, shelter it, right, and then all the way up to internet, computers, things, phones are a big one. So those companies that provide those things should hopefully continue to generate revenue through the economic downturn. Is probably what we're going to see here once the virus thing is gone. All right, we got this whole talk of restarting the economy. It's going to be a lot more difficult if you let the economy die completely, which is, I think, part of the thought of not only, hey, the working class individuals out of a job, which millions of people are. It's a terrible situation, obviously. But the shelter in place, whatever you want to call it, the stay-at-home stuff will eventually phase out, and then eventually there will be a time where it's like, okay, now how do we go back to normal? And again, if that restaurant that closed their doors, that has to pay leases on all of their equipment and all of their employees even, has to continue to pay those bills without any income, they might not come back. We might see things go extinct as far as the business world. There might be things that just, hey, I can't float that payment, I'm declaring bankruptcy.
Believe that some,
and that's just,
some of our businesses have closed their doors forever. Here's why trickle down economics doesn't work, and why specifically when you want to stimulate an economy, you want to stimulate the working class and below, pretty much. Beep.
Closer.
All right. Say there's a hotel, and there's a man driving around looking for a hotel, and here he comes, and he says, "You look like." He stops in. He says, "How much for a room?" $20. Okay. He says, "You look like kind of a dive. I want to take a look at your rooms before I sign up. So I'm going to leave this $20 here for you. Give me one of the keys, and if I like it, I'll come back. And either way, I'll come back and I'll let you know if I want it or not." The guy says, "Okay, fine." Okay, so the guy leaves a $20 bill here. He goes to look at one of the units in the hotel. Well, while he's out, the innkeeper at the hotel remembers that he owes the plumber $20. So he takes that $20 and he runs over to the plumber's house and he pays that $20 that he owes him. Cool. Now the plumber, he owes the electrician $20. So he takes that $20 and he runs over to the electrician. Now the electrician, he didn't pay his babysitter last week. So he runs over and pays the babysitter. The babysitter got a room last week and didn't pay for it. So she runs over and pays the innkeeper. Just in time to see the man walk down from his third floor room and say, "You know what? You are a dive. These rooms are disgusting. Give me my $20 back." So the guy gives him his $20 back and he's on his way. Now what happened there? You stimulated an entire economy. You got everyone out of debt, and you didn't spend a dime at all.
But everyone paid their bills.
That's why trickle-down economics doesn't work. Because if you had given the innkeeper $20, but the innkeeper was a rich man, and didn't owe anyone any money, he would have taken that $20 and stuffed it in his bank account, and it doesn't help anybody.
Right. Alternatively, though, if who's this one over here? The electrician, instead of paying the babysitter, goes and buys a phone. The cycle's broken. So then now that the phone over here, maybe there's a different cycle over here. But if that there, then this guy comes back or whoever lady
to find his $20 gone.
Then you have a real issue there too, because you for no service rendered, it's theft at that point. But so there has to be. They're right. This whole thing has to continue. People have to continue spending in order for the economy to survive.
Not continue spending. People have to continue paying their obligations. Actually, something that gets asked quite often in a couple of my groups is what's going on with evictions right now. So, evictions currently, the facts. The courts are closed in Massachusetts. The courts are closed to the public. That doesn't mean that physically you can't go into a courthouse.
Walk into a court.
That doesn't mean that our justice system is shut down. It just means that the courts are closed to the public. They still have e-filed. Okay, an eviction case can still be e-filed against you for non-payment of rent. In fact, since the lockdown, there have been 600 cases e-filed in Massachusetts. So everyone out there saying you cannot be evicted, it's not true. That's untrue.
Right.
Now, the courts are not scheduled to open until the 21st of April, I believe. I would assume, it's just an assumption, that date is probably going to be pushed to the beginning of May sometime, maybe the 4th of May, like I've heard other places. So there's no chance of getting a hearing unless you're considered an essential eviction. An essential eviction is basically illegal activity, violation of lease, something to endanger the health and safety of others in the building, stuff like that. But unless you have an essential eviction, so if it's just non-payment of rent, you're not going to get the case heard until after the courts are opened. There is a bill that is, it has not yet been before Governor Baker, that would put a halt on all evictions for both commercial and residential tenants, and all foreclosures, at least for residential mortgages. But it's not signed in, it's not law yet, so.
And it also doesn't consider what you mentioned earlier, the business side of things, whether that's a restaurant paying rent to a company or whoever owns that building, or maybe they own their own.
We have a building with a restaurant in it.
Yeah, but they pay a similar, as anyone individual would, a rent for the space to use. Doesn't address them at all.
It does.
Does it?
Yes, the bill actually it would put a halt on all evictions, both residential and commercial.
Okay. Well, it certainly then doesn't address. Well, here's the thing: you have a scale, right? So you're saying, tenant or homeowner, doesn't have to pay or whichever, and then the bank can't then levy upon them. But I forgot what I was saying.
One of the problems is the CARES Act specifically doesn't have any protection for any property owner unless your mortgage service provider is federally backed. There are a great many commercial loans out there that are not federally backed. Investors, buildings with more than 4 units in them, non-owner occupied buildings are going to be, at least have a very strong potential of not being federally backed. The city is amazing, and so are the people in it. We're going to get through this. It's a difficult time for everybody, but you don't need a crystal ball to know that we're going to, no matter what, we're going to be okay. Everyone's going to be okay. We're going to have to pull together a little bit, act as a team, and maybe help one another out. Speaking of help, there's a lot of help out there for people. The United Way of Greater New Bedford, they're helping a lot of people. They have a lot of resources on their site, a lot. PACE, they have a mobile food bank. I know they were at PACA sometime this week. You can find out more about the PACE mobile food bank by visiting their site, paceinfo.org, I believe. St. Anthony's of Padua has a mobile food bank as well. I don't know the specifics on that one. The Salvation Army, they've been really clutch during this time, helping people out a lot. The city of New Bedford, or I'm sorry, New Bedford Public Schools, uh, they have grab and go breakfast and lunch for every child, regardless of whether or not they are a student at New Bedford Public Schools. Every child under 18, and they do grab and go breakfast and lunches for the entire week now. So you can go there, pick up 5 days worth of food, and be on your way. And you can do that between 11:30 a.m. and 1 p.m. at Gomes, Campbell, Kearney, Haymack,
That's a really good one.
Keith, Lincoln, Roosevelt, and also Alma Del Mar offers grab and go breakfast and lunches as well. And they had some pictures up, and actually, they looked really good. Yum, 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 yum. A whole week worth of food. So anybody out there needing food for your littles, that's a great resource. And there's plenty of people in the city that are willing to lend a helping hand. Maybe you have littles and you're having a food issue, and you don't have a way to get to the school for the grab and goes. There's a group on Facebook called New Bedford Strong. You can join the group, and chances are someone on there will be able to lend a helping hand. New Bedford Strong also has a website, www.newbedfordstrong.com, and you can fill out an intake form if you have a need or a request for assistance. Also, if you want to donate or if you want to volunteer some time, that would be awesome. You can do that as well at newbedfordstrong.com. And do you know of any other resources that are out there?
You got a lot of the good ones. The United Way, the MB Strong, a lot of churches, I think.
A lot of churches.
There are some closed, but I think there's a lot that are open
For help, for help reasons. The YMCA, YWCA are great resources as well. And there is actually some emergency or crisis housing assistance available through the RAFT program. You can find out more information on that by contacting or by going to mass.gov, and it's one of the first pages there under COVID response. So, yeah. Do you have anything else to add?
Do you have some of the links or something?
I can post the links I can post some links.
Click them.
Click the links.
Click.
Anyway, thank you guys for watching, and we miss everybody. We hope everyone is doing well and stays well.